Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the President of Mount St. Mary's University, Dr. Ann McElaney-Johnson.
Good morning and welcome to Mount St. Mary's University's annual report on the status of women and girls in California. And a big congratulations to the fact that we're all strong enough and resilient enough to deal with a little rain to get here. So thanks for coming out. I kept hearing, it's raining, and so people probably won't show. You'll have the room half full. Well, we showed them wrong. It is so good to be here with all of you today, our friends and our allies who are working to improve the lives of women, girls, and families across our state. We have an informative and I really think inspiring program for you this morning with a focus on women in the workforce, which I imagine you'll agree with me is a timely topic. A lot has happened this past year. Women are speaking up, standing up, and advocating for themselves and those who are more vulnerable. While the political and social climate may seem discouraging, it is imperative that we stay the course and create opportunities for positive change. I find myself truly hopeful because I reflect on the collective energy and action women are leading in communities across our state and our nation. Now is the time to add your voice to this conversation. Together, we will gather the tools we need today to effectively talk about the long overdue gender inequities that demand solutions. Sexual harassment cannot be tolerated anywhere, anytime. Women deserve equal pay for equal work. We must enact family-friendly policies in the workplace to ensure the health and wellness of our communities and future generations. And now, more than ever, we need women in positions to affect positive change, from the boardrooms to elected office. I am truly inspired by the resiliency I see in women of all ages, but especially in the generations that are following mine. We are strong and mighty, and we come together, we can be unstoppable. Now, many of you know that the word unstoppable means something at Mount St. Mary's. It's actually our motto. We talk about the importance resilience plays in unstoppable leadership. Last year, some of you joined us, and our report focused on health and wellness, which continues to be a top priority at Mount St. Mary's. To be strong leaders, you need to be strong. This morning, we'll hear from strong and resilient leaders from industries who will share their insights and experiences about how women are faring in the workplace and what the future holds. This is why we produce the report on the status of women and girls each year, to create a platform for discussion, to examine the progress we've made, and to explore the challenges and the opportunities that lie ahead. By working together, we find solutions. Mount St. Mary's partners with local women's commissions, our elected officials, nonprofit organizations, and corporations throughout the year to create a positive change right here in Los Angeles and in communities across the state. Many of these partners are here with us this morning, and I want to take a moment to thank them for helping make today possible. First, I would like to thank our generous lead sponsors, our friends at Disrupt Aging from AARP, the Sisters of St. Joseph, our founders and fierce advocates for women and girls, Guggenheim, who is here with us, City National Bank, KPMG over here, I think, Lock Lord, Thrivent Financial, KCRW, and all of the other corporations, individuals, and community partners who support this important research and help us share it with so many people across the year. I'd also like to thank this year's host committee who helped us spread the word about the report. Will all of you please stand to be recognized? Thank you for joining us. We so appreciate the work you've put into helping us get the word out. So, let's explore some of the data in this year's report. For the past 7 years, we have charted parity in key areas that are crucial to women's success. This year, we created a gender equity dashboard for the state, a quick reference for all of us to see where we have reached equity and where we have not. We have identified 7 key areas: educational attainment, STEM employment, women in media, corporate leadership, wage equity, and politics. By tracking these key areas each year, we can better assess where we are on the path to parity. We decided to look back 10 years as a benchmark for comparison to chart our rate of progress. So let's take a look. I am pleased to start this data with a good announcement. We have reached gender parity for the bachelor's and master's degrees. This is good news. But while we applaud that, we are still not at parity for doctoral and professional degrees. Only 40% of doctoral degrees are awarded to women, and 46% of professional degrees. We do see gains from 2006, but at this rate, we would not see equity in professional degree attainment for another 6 years, and it would take over 20 years to reach parity at the doctoral level. Let's move into STEM fields: science, technology, engineering, and math, the fastest growing industries that tend to offer the highest wages. The good news is we have achieved parity in mathematical occupations, and we are edging closer in life and physical sciences. But women still only make up 21% of computer scientists and 15% of engineering professionals. What is striking is the small increase since 2006 in engineering, and even more shocking, a 2% decrease in computer science from 10 years ago. I'm very much looking forward to some of our speakers from the tech industry this morning who will shed some light on these statistics. Another area still rife with gender inequities is the media, both in front of and behind the camera. As you can see, women comprise only 31% of the speaking roles in the top 100 grossing films, and only 17% of those behind the camera are women. Progress from 2006 is 0% for those behind the camera, and a mere 1% for those in front of the camera. Mount St. Mary's is proud to partner with the Gina Davis Institute on Gender and Media, as well as Take the Lead, 50 Women Can Change the World in Media and Entertainment, to help improve these dismal statistics. Given all the recent conversations throughout the industry, the entertainment industry, I do have hope. We will take a deeper dive into women in Hollywood at our luncheon today with Gina Davis. I'm sure that this will come as no surprise to you, but there is still not parity in executive offices of California's Fortune 400 companies. Only 27% of executives are women, which is only a 3% increase from 10 years ago. And more specifically, only 4% of CEOs are women, which is just a 1% increase over the past decade. Of the roughly 3,000 director seats in California's Fortune 400, only 13% of these seats are held by women, which represents a 4% increase. Boardrooms, as we know, are where the decisions are made, and we need to get more women at these tables. Because given this rate of change, with all things remaining constant and linear, it will take over 270 years for women to achieve parity in the CEO category in California. And I'd like to note that that is actually longer than the United States has been a country. Outside Fortune 400 companies, women who build their own businesses are proving more successful in California, with a 6% increase in the past 10 years. So now we move to the wage gap. It still sort of boggles my mind that in 2018 I'm talking about the wage gap. But here we are. Currently, women working full-time, year-round, earn 88 cents for every dollar all men earn. This is a statistic that has not changed much since 2006. In the past 10 years, women have earned an additional 6 cents. And as we know, if we disaggregate by race and ethnicity, the gap is far greater for women of color. One area we know is key to advancing an agenda for women and girls is the political arena. We must have a representative democracy to implement legislation that protects and values women, girls, and families. However, women continue to be underrepresented in federal, state, and local government. Only 22% of the 2017 California state legislature is comprised of women. This is down 6% from 2007. Now, this backslide is alarming and should get our attention. But there is some hope. As of last November, nationally, 392 women are planning to run for office in the 2018 elections for the Senate and the House of Representatives. That is nearly double what we saw in 2016. That's progress. And this is encouraging on the national level, but here in California, we are not seeing a significant change in the number of women running for office. We have to run to win. And statistics show that when women run, they win at rates comparable to male candidates. We just need women to get out there and run so that they can win. So, looking at all our key indicators, we have reached parity in only 3 areas, and where we have made some improvement, the increases are sometimes minimal. So we ask always, why do these gender equities continue to persist? Our Center for the Advancement of Women at Mount St. Mary's engages in research to answer this question. Today, I'm pleased to introduce to you Dr. Emerald Archer, the director of the Center for the Advancement of Women, who will share some context and prevailing theories on why gender inequities persist, and why gender equities are so slow in coming. So we thank you for being with us this morning, and I ask Emerald to come forward and lead us forward in this discussion.
'Cause I'm a lady. Hey. Yes, I'm a lady. Come on. I'm a lady. All my girls, show 'em you a lady. Tell the world, say you're proud to be a lady.
Good morning. Thank you, Dr. McElaney-Johnson. I'd also like to thank Dr. Eleanor Siebert, lead researcher of our 2018 report, who has tirelessly worked with me to create this report and make it the most useful advocacy tool for all of you. I just celebrated my first year as the center director, and thank you. I am thrilled to be here with all of you. We have accomplished so much in 1 year, and I am truly excited about what the future holds for us. The Center for the Advancement of Women at Mount St. Mary's University is a hub for gender equity research, advocacy, and leadership development. Our research initiatives extend far beyond our report, and I encourage all of you to take a look at our center website for more information. President McElaney-Johnson just presented some of the data that we track annually in our reports. I'd like to zero in now on some of the theories that will help us understand why these gender inequities persist so long over time. Gender role stereotypes have a cascading effect. starting in childhood, where girls and boys learn gender-normative behaviors, and these behaviors and attitudes are carried with them into their schools and universities, often informing the career paths of men and women. Stereotypes can be both positive and negative. Gender role stereotypes, or for example, the idea that women are sensitive and men are competitive, are out there, right? And they can be problematic. However, it's really the rigidity of these stereotypes that are the problem. Problems arise when women deviate from the gender role expectations about when they exude a competitive spirit, or when men deviate from their gender role expectations when they demonstrate sensitivity. Locking women into gender role stereotypes has real consequences. We just heard statistics about women occupying the position of chief executive officer. They are almost entirely absent from running California's Fortune 400 companies. One reason it can be hard for the most persistent women to attain positions of influence is due to the widespread resistance to women's leadership. Study after study demonstrate that people have mental associations that are shared, be them conscious or unconscious, about men and women. Namely, we associate leadership qualities with men, but often not with women. Sociologists describe these competing associations as communal and agentic. Communal behavior is focused on group dynamics, while agentic behavior, or having agency, is more task-oriented and outcome-focused. And you may have guessed, women are typically associated with communal characteristics, like being friendly, sympathetic, and caring. And men are typically associated with agentic characteristics, like being self-confident, ambitious, and powerful. And we tend to associate leadership with more agentic characteristics, leaving women in a classic double bind. If women are highly communal, then they will be criticized for not being agentic enough. And when they are communal, right, when they are too agentic, they won't be communal enough, or vice versa. Either way, this may leave the impression that women don't have the right stuff to have these powerful jobs, and everyone in this room knows that we have more than the right stuff. And what happens when women try to break through these artificial divisions? They are often penalized for transgressing gender role stereotypes when they assume leadership roles. It goes without saying that these stereotypes are false, but the myths that they carry with them are hard to bust. Stereotypes can even impact performance in the workplace. Social psychologists caution us about the damaging effects of stereotype threat. Stereotype threat is a phenomenon where individuals of a social group suffer from stress and anxiety after being exposed to a negative stereotype that relates to their identity. Anxiety that stereotype threat introduces can result in underperformance, which may compel women to leave their fields early. One real-world example that hits very close to home for us is in higher education. Stereotype threat offers one example for the small numbers, or explanation, I should say, for the small numbers of women who choose majors in computer science or engineering in California colleges and universities. When more women leave these disciplines early, less of them move through the pipeline and into technical industries. Now, these theoretical frameworks that give context to our report data suggest that women continue to face implicit bias, or stereotypes held by others that unconsciously affect attitudes and action. And this implicit bias hampers success in the workplace. In addition, the many women who attempt to balance the responsibilities of motherhood with the demands of a career often do so without the critical infrastructure needed to ensure their success in both areas. The loss is not just theirs. California communities and economies suffer too when half of the workforce is not achieving its full economic potential in terms of wealth, pay equities, and policies. I've barely scratched the surface this morning, but the closer looks in our reports really explore these theories more fully, and you will hear more about these ideas throughout the program. We have an amazing program for you this morning. We have 2 timely panels and a fireside chat with Emily Chang, author of Brotopia, Breaking Up the Boys Club of Silicon Valley. Thank you so much for being here with us today. Let's get the program started with these fabulous women. Thank you.